All right, here we are. We're back. This is my third reading. So where we're at is Mike and Tanya are on the arcology, where life's kind of gone, except Catherine, who was up in the darkness, and now she's
It
coming
has
down an
been
elevator.
so long since I've read those. So long, so I'm trying to remember. What?
Hmm?
What are you making those faces
I'm
for?
just talking to the internet. It's fine.
Whatever. I haven't read it since before we met.
And you
I
still
read
met me
that.
anyways.
I read that before we met, so it's been a very long time.
All right. So they're on the arcology. There's dead people everywhere.
Right.
So I'm really surprised you wanted to meet me after reading this. Not thinking you might have something wrong.
Whatever. It's not like a creepy book or anything.
Yet. It gets its moments. There's moments. The villains are pretty.
Yeah, but overall, it's. I mean,
There are villains in this book. They haven't shown
but
up yet.
but that type of book, you kind of have to have a villain. I mean,
I know.
that's
But they're evil.
right, as villains are.
But on some level, you think, so the author, does he think this way too? Like, I've had those moments reading Dean Koontz books where I'm like, Dean's kind of messed up here. This is, I don't think I would have thought of that. That's kind of messed up. So, all right. It's overwhelming on every level. If there's a taste to death, Catherine's experiencing it. It's beyond a bad smell here, beyond anything she could ever imagine her worst nightmares. She reluctantly steps off the elevator. She staggers forward while covering her mouth with her shirt, trying to protect herself from the awfulness around her. It's doing precious little to protect her from the stench, though more than the tissue she'd used previously. Yeah. She's trying not to look at the dead bodies around her as she goes to the control panel. She punches in the security code Jensen had given her. That's her boyfriend, who she doesn't know whether he's alive or not. And looks for anything that might resolve this horrible scene of ultimate carnage. There are no robots on this level that can do any kind of cleanup. There were cleanup robots on um, the plant level she was on before, so they used plants to produce oxygen in order to oxygenate the atmosphere and the whole arcology. Uh, in this case, her security clearance doesn't appear to be helping anything. It only tells her she has precious little hope left to cling to. I don't know that was the display that was on there, but yeah, that's what it's telling her. There's still a question of who turned the lights back on. It would appear that there are no other survivors who could tolerate this smell for this long without losing their will to live. Catherine's holding out hope that an outsider's here now and is going to rescue her before some alien monster tries to devour her. Her mind is still playing tricks on her as it had in the dark for weeks previous. She questions whether or not she'll ever get her sanity back. Catherine gives up her security clearance and steps away from the panel. She turns and sees Jensen 20 feet behind her, a knife in his hand. His eyes are wide and reveal his sanity has long left him behind, a twisted smile crossing his face. I've been looking for you. I've been looking so long. I assumed you were dead, sweet Catherine. Jensen, she yelps, putting her hands up in surrender while her now ex boyfriend holds a knife up and stands maybe 3 corpses away from her. She wonders if she has the ability to pick up one to use as a shield for absorbing blows from this mass murderer. What the hell happened down here? How did it get this bad? It's like this, darling. This arcology is mine. You, like this arcology, are mine. When you decided to leave and go elsewhere, I looked for you. People lied. Said they didn't know where you were. I had to make sure they were telling me the truth, and mere threats weren't enough. All they had to do was tell me where you were. I watched them all die off. Some killed for fun, others killed in psychotic rages. I kept searching in vain. The killers eventually turned against each other. That's when the lights went out, and now so many have died. You didn't kill them all, she asks as she looks at the hundreds of bodies in the main hallway on their floor. She knew you couldn't have done all of this without being challenged. People won't line up single file for a mass murderer to do them in with a knife. He doesn't have mustard gas, and he doesn't even have a gun. Even if he did, none of these people appear to have been shot. Most look like they've been strangled, judging by the lines around their necks. Kill them all. You think I'm a complete monster? Is that what you think? You were always judgmental of me, you know. You always wanted this. You always knew somehow it would end up like this, didn't you? Were you watching all this happen somewhere inside the ship, laughing to yourself as I tried to find you? He asks as he takes a step forwards and she has to take a step back. You're not well, Jensen. What the hell happened to the man I met and fell in love with? I was calling for help the day the lights went out and no one answered me. We were declared in quarantine. We were left for dead. And it all started with you and your boss, he says, pointing the knife at her as if it were an extension of his hand. I wasn't doing anything with my boss. You lie. He lied. I killed him first. You killed him? He had a wife and kids, she says as her heart sinks. Her life is in grave danger. Catherine has to think of an escape, or she will become a victim the same as those lying around her. This has distracted her from the stench and from the taste in her mouth emanating from the dead. This is about survival now. Look, let's just give ourselves up, okay? Something happened to you. You're not yourself. No one here was acting themselves before I chose to leave. Look around us, for God's sake. Everyone's dead. This is not right. This is not what we wanted. You wanted to marry me. We were going to have children and a life together. This can't happen if we don't leave, go back to Earth, and get you well. Jensen laughs. You're always trying to blame me for what was wrong with you. You screwed me up. I'll tell the authorities that, too. You turned me into the man I am now. I owe it all to you, babe. This carnage is because of you. Those dreams we had are all but dead, and you're next. He gives her a wink and makes a slashing motion across his own throat with the blood-encrusted knife. Just stop. You were a security guard, remember? This isn't what you were about. I remember the real you, Jensen, the man I fell in love with. You worked to protect people. You took care of me and of those that you cared about. Jensen nods. I try to protect people from themselves. I was protecting these people. They paid me back with scorn, disrespect. I cannot have people disrespecting me, Catherine. That leads to anarchy. If I'd shown any weakness, I would be one of the corpses at your feet, and then you'd win. Win? You hold a knife out at me, and you think I see any win in this? We came here to start a new life, and this is how it ends? On to the next page. Freeze! A voice shouts from behind Jensen. A man emerges from around the corner and is brandishing a gun. Put the knife down! Jensen slowly turns to face the other man. Are you sleeping with Catherine, too? Have you been spying on me the whole time this went down? What's with the spacesuit? What are you talking about? I don't know her or have a clue who you are. Drop the knife and we'll let cooler heads prevail here, okay? If you put the knife down, I put the gun down, the man says, and a woman joins him. She also has a gun. Where did you two spacemen come from? Jensen asks. Special ops, the woman answers. I'm Tanya Decker. This is Mike Fergus. We want cooler heads to prevail here, sir. Jensen laughs. We're in quarantine. No, there aren't enough people here to even justify calling this a quarantine. To be honest, in our preliminary investigation, you'd appear to be the sole survivors of a massacre, so let's be rational here, Mike says. Put the knife down before I'm forced to put a hole in your chest. They say not to bring a knife to a gunfight, you know. There's a spelling error in there. It says the wrong word. Wait, you remember the spelling error?
I remember there being different spelling errors and capitalization errors.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Telling the internet that. No, I dodge it because you're.
I told you back when I was reading it.
I know. I would kill her before you could squeeze off a shot, Jensen says, pointing at Catherine. You don't have a clear shot at me, but I have a clear shot at her. I can throw this knife and she goes down like a ton of bricks. Don't test me. Catherine quietly takes a few steps back and almost trips over a man on the floor. She looks down and finds the man is a policeman, a gun in his belt. She wants to crouch down to grab it, but Jensen could slash her throat before she can complete the motion. She isn't even sure a well-placed gunshot will kill this monster inhabiting Jensen's body anyway. Look, there are two of us, and there's one of you, Tanya says. This whole arcology is a crime scene. We know you didn't kill all of these people, and we don't believe you're in full control of your actions right now. Something made you this way. If we work together, maybe we can prevent further pain and suffering. You're wrong, Jensen says with a smile. I've never been more in control. I've never been able to actually feel like God, deciding who lives and who dies. I didn't kill them all, but I killed enough. If I go with you, I face a lethal injection within a week. I know exactly how this works. Security tapes will show me as a mass murderer, and then the three of you will eat popcorn while I die in front of you. I don't work like that, Mike says, shaking his head as sweat runs down his forehead. Put the knife down and we can talk. There's a way out of this. Jensen laughs. Oh, there's only one way out, he says, and turns towards Catherine. He readies to throw the knife as a laser blast is heard and a hole is torn through Jensen's chest, where his heart was a moment earlier. Catherine, having crouched to grab the weapon at her feet, was clear of Mike's shot. Jensen collapses onto nearby dead bodies with a thud, and Catherine starts crying. Mike rushes over to Catherine with Tanya close behind. He grabs Catherine by the shoulders. Are you hurt? She shakes her head. No, but you can get me the hell out. Can you get me the hell out of this place? Mike motions to Tanya. I have to do a medical sweep of this place, but my partner will take you out of here. We can get you cleaned up and fed on our shuttle. Catherine wonders if it's obvious she hasn't eaten in a while. She does exit with Tanya and is glad to have helped out of this nightmare. On their way out, she tries not to look at any of the dead bodies. She knew these people and doesn't need any more nightmare images in her brain. Her sanity's already hanging by a thin thread. Mike looks around at the carnage. What caused this, and where did it go? He asks himself. He uses his handheld computer and checks for signs of life on this level. If there was a virus here, planted somehow, I can't see it just being here. I really hate this crap. Can't wait to go home. Katie's going to get the biggest hug of her life, hopefully sooner rather than later, he says, his words echoing throughout the lifeless arcology. He's no closer to the answers he needs than when before he arrived here. At least now he can report to his bosses what he found here. He just wished he had some good news to deliver. That's the end of chapter 1. Is that okay?
Of course. You've already read it.
Yeah, but you didn't remember it.
I remember bits and pieces, especially not so much of the very beginning. I remember more later in the book.
It does get better as it goes along.
It does. I mean, but you have to set up the story.
Yeah.
But the beginning wasn't bad either, because when I started reading it, I read a ton of it. Like, I got a lot of it read really quickly.
Did you ever finish it?
I finished 4 of the book.
You didn't read 5?
I didn't read 5. Did I ever get a copy of 5?
I would have sent you a copy of 5.
Probably. I don't think I ever read 5. Pretty sure I never read 5. I know I read...
5 is fantastic.
Yeah.
I know that sounds obnoxious and arrogant, but compared to the other 4, I really, really enjoyed 5.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed writing it. Well, because it gets into alien abductions.
Okay.
And the whole idea of alien abductions, and I tried to make it so you explained alien abductions, and I brought them into being reality, that these things really happen, and tried to explain it as well as I could. There are parts of the story where I'm like, and I've written myself into a corner, but that happens when you're not plotting out books, and I don't plot them out.
Right.
So I'll be like, oh, this is great. How the hell did they get out of this? Oh, crap.
Clone.
So,
that's right. We'll do a clone.
Clones do show up in these books. I'm really glad these came out and were copyrighted on Amazon before Star Wars did their Into the Void series, and started really dabbling in clones in their new expanded universe. So, yeah. All right, there you go. That is part 3 of me reading this. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video.
It'd be a weird video to just happen upon.
Yes. That's why it's a playlist.
Yeah.
So
this would be a weird one to
It's a playlist.
Start watching in the middle.
Mm-hmm. You can't skip to the end either. It's not like Power Rankings where they just skip to the end. Well, that's stupid. Can't just jump to the end. Last sentence he read doesn't make any sense. We have to hear the rest too. So yeah, so chapter 2 is up next, and that's where... Yeah, that's where I get into the other arcology, and then we start getting into all of the characters that were people that I knew. That's when we start getting into, I would have to go to work and tell people, I'm sorry I killed you last night. And they're like, what? I'm sorry you're dead. You mean I'm dead? I killed you off. I don't know. The book told me to do it. Because it just, I'm writing and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, they're dead. Crap. And some of them were like the people I was closest friends with at the time, and then I'm like, oh, well, you're dead. And then we'd all be sitting at the table and go, well, is he still alive? Yes. Well, why is he still alive if I'm dead? I don't know. I don't know. Is she still alive? Yes. Wait, they're both still alive? Yes. So, yeah, it's just weird that way. Some people make really good characters in books, and some people don't. I know that sounds weird, but there are people I meet and I go, that's a good character, and people I meet that I go, not so much. So, if I ever get back into writing, you will be the most glorious, well-rounded character ever in the history of novels.
Whatever.
You'll be like Romeo and Juliet level. Probably more Romeo than Juliet. So, probably a little bit old to play Juliet at this point.
You think?
But you could play Romeo.
Slightly.
So, yeah. All right. There you go. Thank you guys so much for watching, for your time. And again, I'm trying to keep it to small, morsel-sized parts of the book, so it's not just crazy long in each increment. All right. I will talk to you guys again soon.